Hi, today's date is February 28th, 2022. For today's video source inspection, we have a fully refurbished 870S model SRD, and we have SlickDevice controllers. Due to confidentiality reasons, I won't share my customer's identity with you, but they're located in the state of New York, and I'll share their recipe before we get started. They're going to run a 60-second rinse at 500 RPMs before we speed up for a 10-second purge at 1800 RPMs. We maintain this speed for an additional 90 seconds, and then we slow it down to 500 RPMs again for an additional 320 seconds in our dry 2. So the purpose of today's video is to show that this tool is fully functional and ready for plug-and-play installation in our customer's fab. As we film, I will go over our other equipment offerings at Sitek, our refurbishment process, and spare parts and service support. So in the top chamber, we have N2 purging in the bowl. We're running a cassette that's custom. And down here, N2 purging in the bowl. And I'm not going to pull out the cassettes because we're running 4 of them, very custom. So I'm going to do my best to start these two SRD heads at the same time, and we'll get to it. Pretty good. Okay, so we have a 60-second rinse. When the rinse concludes and we speed up our purge, instead of water falling down in the window, we'll have a circular motion, and there'll be less and less droplets on the window as the recipe progresses. So as you can see, we are in run mode. We were in ready mode before. Red would be alarm, and blue would be acknowledgement. Process complete. So let's talk about our equipment offerings at Sitek before we get into everything else with the SRD. Hot ticket item right now are spray solvent tools. If you give us a call, we can give you more information at 916-797-9000. You can see our complete equipment catalog at www.sitekprocess.com. There, you can submit a formal RFQ, or you can email our sales email address, sales@sitekprocess.com. Okay, we're about to speed up. There we go. And you see we're not water falling anymore, but we're going to be spinning circular. All right. Other equipment we provide at Sitek includes box washers such as the HTC 8010, 8020, and 8030, mass cleaners including K&S and Ultra T models, metrology tools including profilometers, ellipsometers, resistivity, and more. Ask us about barrel ashers and eschers, YES ovens, and a variety of microscopes. Remember, you visit our website, you can see all the other equipment we provide I didn't mention, including semi-tool SRDs and Vertec SRDs. We're actually the owner of Vertec SRDs now, for your information if you did not know. But let's talk about our refurbishment process for this semi-tool SRD. All semi-tool SRDs that are refurbished at Sitek go through the same extensive refurbishment process. First, we take the tool and break it down to the component level. From there, we chemically clean and electropolish all metal parts, as well as individually inspect all parts for function. Once all parts are prepped, that's when we begin building bare SRD head assemblies from the ground up. So once we have our head assemblies built, that's when it goes to our first QC checkpoint, which is dry test. This is where we test and inspect the SRDs for full function without facilities installed. QC checkpoint number 2 is wet test. This is where we do our testing and inspecting with facilities installed. Last stop in our QC process is final test, which you see before you today. All right, so we just slowed way down and we're in our dry 2. So 320 seconds. We have a ways to go in the recipe. In final test, any poly that needs to be put on the tool will be put on, and we'll do over 50 various recipes, different speeds and times, and we like to call this burn-in testing. That way the SRD is ready for anything our customers throw at it in their fab. Lastly, we film a video source inspection, and then we're ready for shipment. So the top chamber, there's more drops of water on the window than you would normally see because the rotor is very custom and very small. But if we go up to our controllers, you can kind of see cool features of the SlickDevice. You can see which valves are on and which components are being used. Our company president, Jim Mulaney, has a very thorough and in-depth training video on our YouTube channel. It's about 20 minutes long, where he goes through all the bells and whistles, whether it's our N2 purge saver, it's our graph monitoring of the heating elements and anti-static, maintenance mode, motor calibration, you name it. He goes through every screen of the controller, and I highly recommend you watch it. So the SlickDevice controller is a direct replacement for PSC 101 and PSC 102 controllers. This is the S model version. We also have an F model version. So if you have F model or S model SRDs, you're eligible for this, which is the best controller for SRDs available. So if you're replacing a 102 controller, you may need to make a slight front poly face modification, as the 102s are the longer and skinnier shape. But that's a service we also provide for customers. You're like, well, what about this? Well, we have your back covered there too. So we have 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. Let's talk about our spare parts and service support. As I mentioned earlier, we are the OEM for Vertec SRDs after purchasing those from that product line from Martech a couple of years back. But I'm going to talk more specifically about our semi-tool SRDs. If you do have Vertec parts, repairs, or refurbishment needs, please call us and we're happy to assist you. We can provide 100% of the spare parts and repair services needed to upkeep your semi-tool SRD. Components we repair include controllers such as the PSC 101s and 102s I mentioned that we've upgraded from, as well as the 228 and 328s old school controllers too. We rebalance rotors, and we also repair motors, whether it's a brush type or brushless in this case. We also repair LC4 and LC5 servo amps, which are also known as a motor or automotion controller. This tool utilizes LC4s in the brushless motor. Every part that I just mentioned is available in new or refurbished condition, so please give us a call for more information. Just over 2 minutes left. Let's talk more specific spare parts. In addition to the larger components I just mentioned, we provide windows, door seals, start switches, stop switches, door switches, pressure switches, N2 filters, heater cartridges, heater blankets, anti-static modules, solenoid valves, ACR valves, motor isolators, tach sensors, N2 distribution manifold, any part you can think of. The last and most important one I'm saying for the end of our video is the rotor stop positioner, which is RSP for short. This comes into play so you know when it's safe to open your door at the end of a recipe or not. So that's why I give it extra attention in my videos. So that's a lot of the spare parts needed to upkeep the SRDs. 100% spare parts and service means 100% spare parts service, and we are the worldwide leader in SRD spare parts and service. Parts get discontinued, that doesn't stop us. We have our own static eliminator. We have our own RSP as well. So we find ways to keep providing our customer solution even when there's a scarcity of parts. We have our own resistivity probe too, and that's tough to get right now. 45 seconds left. When the clock strikes 0, we don't want to open the door yet. We need to wait for that RSP to fire our rotor into the 12 o'clock position and for the door seals to release all air. If I force this door open, that causes problems, and you do not want problems in the fab. So far less drops of water on the window, even less on the heavier rotor down below. You can barely see, I can see maybe 1 or 2. You do want a little water in the chamber at the end of the recipe. You don't want a bone dry bowl once the process concludes. I'm just going to let you know that the N2 is warm and that the cassettes are warm to the touch when I open the doors. Alright, clock struck 0 at 75 RPMs. Boom, we break. The light rotor is already uprighted just before the heavier rotor. Warm N2 purging in the bowl. Residual drops of water in the bowl. Set is nice and warm to the touch. You can accept that it was a successful recipe by pressing OK. And then close the door. We're ready to run again. So I did that for the bottom head. It also clears that message when you open the door like I did for the top head. So you can either press OK or you can open the door like I just did beforehand. So kind of jump the gun. Warm end 2, residual drops of water. All 4 cassettes are warm to the touch. This has been a successful run of our customer's SRD. We thank you for watching today's video, and we'll see you next time.